Hi, Christina Ravesi-Weinstein here from The Runner's High, author of Fighting Your Inner Voice from Codebreaker Inc., Anxious, How to Advocate for Students with Anxiety Because What If It Turns Out Right from Times 10 Publications, and now co-author of Disrupt the Status Quo, also from Codebreaker Inc. If you haven't gotten your hands on the book yet, what are you waiting for? It's a #1 bestseller in 5 different categories. 5! When you get it, let us know what you think. Consider writing a review. This book is going to change education as we know it. It's a must-read. Disrupting the status quo means something different to everyone. Last summer, in episode 10 of Vlogging with Anxiety titled I Should, I talked about disrupting the status quo and living by your own unwritten rules. If you missed it, check it out on my website below. So I'm sure we can all agree that at the heart of disrupting the status quo is changing those things that have become inherently entrenched in our lives. Whether it's at work, at home, the relationships you have with your friends, or the dynamics on your son's hockey team, your life is driven by the status quo. But I'm here to tell you that improvements can't happen without change, and change can't happen without disruptors. Disruptors are risk takers, people who are willing to say no to the way things have always been done and yes to alternative approaches. This is the core of Disrupt the Status Quo's message. It's truth and inspiration about how we've all faced dissatisfaction with the norm and how, in the eyes of 4 educators, it can be overcome. In this vlog, I'm going to do something very different. I'm going to kick off a 4-part series, 1 vlog for each of the 4 themes discussed in the book: toxicity, perception, failure, and voice. I'm also going to include other voices, not just my own. Sure, a vlog is supposed to be the thoughts, stories, and opinions of one person presented in video form, but not surprisingly, I'm going to disrupt the status quo and make these vlogs different, the opinions of more than just one person. While the book is a start, it's not enough. We need to start opening the conversation and providing everyone with an opportunity to share experiences. Disruptors have existed forever. It's time we start highlighting their efforts and talking about the change they seek. It doesn't take much, just a passion and a willingness to do better. The world is changing. Education is changing. We must change. We must disrupt the status quo. If you've ever started a new job, you're familiar with the whole I want to fit in versus I want to be myself balance. While you most likely accepted the new job offer because you liked what the employer, district, or facility had to offer, you accepted the job hoping you could bring something new and refreshing to the table. Accepting a new job is much like judging a relationship only from what you see in person or through the lens of social media. You never truly know what goes on in a relationship when you're not in it. The same is true when you say yes to a new job. You never truly know what you're walking into until you walk into it. Toxic environments are deadly for schools. They're easily masked for those on the outside, packaged in a beautiful bow and labeled as a thoughtful gift in appreciation of your arrival. It looks so inviting, like something you can't wait to take a hold of, open, and dive into. But that's the thing about toxic environments. They sucker you into thinking you need to be a part of them, but then they slowly change who you are. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I've seen all the movies at the theaters, and I've read all the books more than once. Sure, they're fantasy stories, magical worlds designed to let our imaginations run wild. But if there's anything you should know about me as an educator, it's that I think analogies are one of the most powerful ways to learn. Attaching new concepts to the things we already know and understand is a highly effective way to make the learning stick. So in addition to thinking Severus Snape is one of the greatest characters ever written. Ever written. I cried when he died. Like dirty cried when he died.
Take them. Take them. Please.
Give me something. Quickly, a flask, anything.
Take them to the Pensive. Look at me. You have your mother's eyes.
I love Harry Potter because there are so many analogies to real life. So let's talk about one, Dementors. Dementors are wraith-like characters that glide in unknowingly around the wizarding world and feed on human happiness. They create feelings of desperation and despair among anyone close to them. Dementors also have the ability to suck the soul out of a person, leaving them as nothing more than an empty shell of themselves. Let's take a look. One known defense against a Dementor, a Patronus or spiritual guardian. A Patronus is the powerful protection made from the intensely positive energy created from the Patronus charm, an immensely complicated and difficult spell to perform. Dementors hold no true loyalty except to whatever can provide them with the most people to feed on. They can't be destroyed, although they can be countered by a Patronus, and their numbers can be limited if conditions in which they multiply are prevented from forming. If that's the case, then they'll eventually die off. So where's the analogy? Have you figured it out yet? I'll give you a second. Expecto Patronum. Expecto Patronum. Expecto Patronum. Dementors are toxic environments. Let's break it down. They sneak up on you and steal all your happiness. They make you feel depressed. It can even suck the soul right out of you, leaving you a shell of who you were. You can't destroy them. You can only limit their impact by preventing the conditions they need to multiply from forming. And you do this with positive energy. Positive energy that's complicated to come by. So how do we find the positive energy needed to overcome toxic environments?
Music is a big thing for me. I actually try to park my car as far away from the door as possible so I can get some steps in and walk, breathe, and enjoy the time. I also put some music on. And during that time, walking, listening to music, I get into a good mood.
For me, the key to dealing with toxic environments is internal. It's all about self-reflection and realizing sort of maybe the state of mind that I'm in on a certain day or in a certain moment, and being able to realize what I can and can't manage, and having the awareness and the courage to just physically get up and leave that situation in that moment. And I needed to learn a lot of self-awareness to be able to get to that point.
I find positivity in toxic environments by looking for the chaos. If the well-oiled machine isn't running at full capacity, it means there's room for innovation, change, problem solving, and risk-taking. If people aren't currently happy, it means we can change variables and push on things we never thought possible. I love looking for that chaos because it brings change.
This is why I like Harry Potter. This is why I like analogies. It's easy to understand how toxic environments work when you imagine them as wraith-like characters gliding onto the scene, sucking the life out of everybody. But we can't let Dementors thrive. We can't let toxicity win. We have to continue to fight to find our positivity. Toxicity will make you feel like you're the problem, that it's totally normal and a part of all school environments. This isn't the case. Toxic environments are not normal. You are not the problem. You were given a mislabeled present, and you don't have to force yourself to like it. Rather, you need to call it what it is. Find your positivity and move on. Let your Patronus charm chase the Dementors away. I'm Christine Ravesi-Weinstein. Look for my next vlog in this series entitled Perception. For more inspiration on disrupting the status quo, look for Disrupt the Status Quo from Codebreaker Inc. If you're struggling to fight your inner voice, check out my book from Codebreaker entitled Fighting Your Inner Voice. And if you're looking for stories and strategies to support anxious students, grab a copy of Anxious from Times 10 Publications. Don't forget to go to my website, www.ravesi-weinstein.com for more information, and follow me on Twitter at Ravesi-Weinstein. And don't forget, you got to get out there and take that risk, because it's not about what if it goes wrong, it's about what if it turns out right. The dryer has to go off. Of course! It's easy to understand how toxic environments work when you imagine them like, but we can't let dementors thrive. We can't let toxicity win. We have to continue to fight our positivity. You were given a mislabeled present, and you don't have to let your Patronus charm chase the dement.